Hello, folks. Facebook Live again, once here with Rick Berube. And also we have real estate extraordinaire from the North Scottsdale office from the Fine Homes Group, Mr. Dan Ward. Dan, welcome to the show. Yeah, I was waiting for that studio audience to kick in, Dan, and there it is. All right, so Dan, if you could take a moment, okay, and tell us a little about yourself. Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, there's some technical difficulties here. He just lost him.
Okay.
Hold on, we're gonna.
We are experiencing technical.
He's coming back.
Oh, here he is. Okay, we're experiencing technical difficulties, but he's coming. He's back right now. We're gonna get him right in here, and we'll keep going, because it is Facebook Live. Live. This is what happens when you go live. You know what I mean? Stuff happens. Don't want to use the other word. You guys are gonna love today's interview too, because Dan's gonna have some really good stuff to say. But what's going on? There he is. Okay, you're back. We lost you for a moment. Okay, so. The studio audience has to give it to you again, which is good. So, Dan, tell them a little about yourself, your Fine Home Groups, and maybe, just so they get, even your team maybe a little bit, so they get an idea of who they're talking to today.
Sure. So my name is Dan Ward. I'm one of the founders of the Fine Homes Group. We started our team back in 2012, and we've been building it ever since. We're a little different in our team that we are not a team where you have, say, a single rainmaker who hands out leads to all of its team members. We are just four high-producing individual agents that have come together and collaborate on marketing and just ideas in general. But we're really more of an eat-what-you-kill team, as opposed to a team where, there's a one team leader and everyone reports up to them. It's more of a collaborative setting.
Great. Awesome. And who is on there? So tell us a little about your partners in the Fine Home Group too, please.
Yeah, so it's myself. It's my partner. She's another founder, Leslie McGee. We have another partner, Victoria, and then we also have Derek Brissett. Awesome.
Okay, great. And we know you just hit the diamond, which is pretty incredible. Okay, especially for 2020. My saying when 2020 started was, I don't know if you know this, was make more money in 2020. And by March, I was wondering if that actually was going to happen. But you guys, you just were telling me you had your best year ever, didn't you?
We did. I mean, 2020, I think, was tough for everybody, figuring out what it was going to be. The first of the year rolled out and we were positioned really strong to have a good year. And then March hit, and then the market really kind of fell apart for us. Pretty much whatever buyer that we had that could cancel, it did. And then we had the same thing happening with listings. So we were kind of left there twiddling our thumbs, not really knowing what to happen. But I think one thing we learned from 2008 was you had to be resilient and you had to look for opportunity. So that's what we did. And as a result, I think that we finished the year really strong, and we made really the majority of all of our sales in the last 6 months of the year, which is pretty remarkable.
It's incredible. And I remember the high end. I remember because that wonderful thing, and I'm being facetious here, COVID, which was a terrible thing. But when that happened, what happened to the stock market? So a lot of your people that are pulling money out of the stock market to use for down payments, I remember them going, no, my money just got cut in half. I can't afford to do it. Fortunately, it turned around quick, but you probably were hearing a lot of that, weren't you?
We did. So many of our buyers are second home buyers, and it's very seasonal. So when you have an event like, coming off the Phoenix Open, which is a huge driver for us with out-of-town buyers in terms of getting people out to Arizona to ultimately look at houses, we also had spring training get canceled. Then the NBA got canceled, and it was just one after another. Then all of a sudden, Apple announced they were closing their stores worldwide, and it was the reality of the shutdown was real. So we had to figure out a way to pivot. We had to figure out a way to show homes virtually and just adapt to the market we were in. Ironically, interest rates were still, obviously, and still are, incredibly low. And Arizona was, I think, rated as one of the top places to quarantine in the entire country. So we really benefited from that. And we're able to take that buyer demand and figure out a way to make people comfortable with the home buying process.
That's such a great comment. And you know what? All the media that I read agrees with you. As a matter of fact, Scottsdale, Phoenix area, North Scottsdale, was the number 2 most appreciating place in the country last year. And I think a lot of that is because of where your buyers come from, right? You come from California, you go, oh my God, all this for that? Wow. So you have an incredible amount of that going on, don't you?
We do, and one thing that we haven't seen previously, at least I haven't seen in my own business, is that California buyer contingent or that Northwest buyer contingent. I'm from the Northwest myself, and we every now and then get some people, but man, whether it was due to taxes or people being able to work remotely and being in a virtual setting, Arizona just checked a lot of boxes for people, and we really benefited from a lot of that migration moving into the state.
Yeah, I think Washington, Oregon, California, a lot of them. It's a fear factor. It's a taxes factor. It's you can live in Arizona, have more property and less money, and the weather is incredible. So it's a great place to move to.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So okay, so why do you think you guys had a year in 6 months? I mean, that's got to be you must have. I mean, it went from the sky's falling in. Oh my God, I can't believe this. To holy cow, right?
Yeah, we did. The last 6 months, I think there was a lot of pent up demand. We knew it was going to be a strong year coming into 2020. And a lot of that buyer activity that we had really got pushed to later in the year. So we just had to be ready for it. And that was challenging in its own way. And plus having limited inventory made it challenging. But at the end of the day, it turned out to be a great year. We had people contacting us that had been in our sphere that we've been pinging for years that all of a sudden became live, became real buyers, and just being ready to, take that on.
Yeah, excellent too. Now that's great, and this year is starting off pretty quick for you too, isn't it?
I'm sorry, say that again.
This year is starting off pretty quick for you too. You guys out of the gate hot this year so far?
It is. I think the biggest challenge this year is inventory. I think everyone's saying that we've got 10-to-1 buyers to sellers, and trying to figure out ways for us to generate more leads in terms of listings, and then also managing the buyer activity we had. I was actually talking to Shirley this morning. There's a new listing coming on the market this weekend that I've got 3 buyers that they all want to see it. And that just presents a lot of challenges for agents. How do you represent buyers in a market where there's virtually zero inventory?
Right. Yeah. You really got to school them ahead of time and prepare, like set expectations for what's going to happen. Right. I mean, they need to be aware of that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So and last year with your business, would you say it was even buyers and sellers, more sellers than buyers? How would it break down, would you say?
Last year, it was actually fairly equal for us.
Okay.
We were a little buyer heavy, but it was fairly equal. This year, we are definitely buyer heavy.
Yeah. So what's your plan then? How would you get some? Well, before I do that, you've been in this business for a while now, and have you ever seen this low of inventory in the North Scottsdale area?
So I haven't. So I got my license in 2007, and so I was originally with Prudential up in True North, and then we became Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
When I started, I thought I was getting in at the bottom of the business. I didn't realize that 2008 was right around the corner, and that was a pretty rough time. But I think that what we have now is this environment where you have to be really creative. You have to know what's coming on the market before it actually hits, and looking for opportunities and ways to figure that out. Like for example, I have a client that's looking in a neighborhood right now where, typically if something comes on the market, it's going to move with multiple offers within the first day or two. So I was driving through a neighborhood that I knew my clients wanted to be in, and I saw a signpost going up, but it didn't have the sign on it yet. And I was thinking to myself, how am I going to figure out who does this listing belong to? So I ended up contacting our local post-assign company and asking them, giving them the address and saying, hey, do you happen to know whose this listing is? And sure enough, they did. And it happened to be a Berkshire Hathaway agent, which was really interesting. But regardless, I think you got to look for unique, creative ways to kind of get ahead of the market, find out who's got the listings, where are they coming from, and try to get ahead of it, whether it's networking through other agents, being aware of through photographers and sign people or staging companies, but figuring out who has the inventory and how do I get to them.
Such a great thought too. You called the sign company. I love it. Okay, like a private eye. I figured it out. I called them up and I figured out who was going. Which is interesting too, because before we started this interview, I was talking with Mark Stark, and he said, Dan, when you hear Mark always talk about being consumer centric and understanding what the consumer wants, and he said that you were somebody that really got that, like some of your innovative ideas on staging property and so forth too, especially in the price range you're in. Do you want to share a little bit of that with them as well? I think that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we did is we saw a niche where everyone kind of has a different way that they generate business, a different value perspective that they create for their potential clients. Listing specifically, how are you going to differentiate yourself in a competitive listing situation? One thing that I've learned over the last 14 years of being in real estate is homes that are staged sell for more money and they sell quicker than ones that aren't. So we decided to make an investment in staging and say that for every listing that we take that's vacant, where it's applicable, we will provide home staging to that seller at no additional cost. Now, again, you can buy leads off the internet. You can spend thousands of dollars marketing your business, either online or through print advertising or through mail. But what we found is more effective for us is let's just provide a direct benefit to our clients and let them share their story, because that's going to be more impactful than anything else we could do.
Right. Or if, even some of those internet leads, you pay heavy referral fees too, which is
You do.
property.
Exactly. A lot of them that you're paying 50% for,
Yeah.
they can be really, really sizable. And on $1 million deal, that's $15,000.
Yeah.
My staging commitment might be $2,000 out of pocket for a listing. That's way better than having to discount a commission to me or having to, buy a lead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great. All right. Well, my favorite question to ask producers like yourself is this. Okay, so you've been doing this for a while now. You got a great team. If somebody was starting out or trying to get to the next level, what would be the three most important things you would tell them to focus on? Important pieces of advice that you would say?
It's a great question. I think the first thing I would tell somebody is really understand what your individual strengths are, and then figure out a way to leverage those into specifically lead generating real estate activities. I think that there's so many different ways to make money in real estate, whether you are making your money by driving leads through open houses, or maybe you are a tech person and you're generating leads off your own personal website. Maybe you're the neighborhood specialist. But what specific activities, what are you really good at? And what natural characteristics do you have? And tie them into a real estate activity that generates money. Like for me, a lot in my office, there's a lot of people that do really well off of open houses. I really struggle with those. It's not something I'm very good at. It's not something I really enjoy doing. I think I've gotten better at it over the last 14 years, but it's really not my sweet spot. But what I am good at is I'm really good at hosting people in my home, creating personal relationships with them. I love to cook. That's a strength of mine. Having people over and developing relationships and growing my sphere in a way that's really comfortable and meaningful to me. And ultimately, at the end of the day, real estate always comes up as part of the conversation. So figuring out strengths that you have that you can leverage into real estate, I think is huge. I think the second thing I would say is that, Leslie, one of my partners and I, we joked around that when we started our company or started our team, we really wanted to come up with where do we spend our time? So we came up with something we joke around about as the moneymaker test. And as a new agent, I think you can get really sidetracked. You get 150 emails a day. Everyone wants a bit of your time, and you can spend a lot of time doing activities that don't make you money. They're important, but you have to figure out a way to lead generate every day. Otherwise, you're going to be dead in the water. So we joke around that if there's an activity that we're thinking about doing, is it going to make us money or is it not? And if it doesn't pass that test, we don't do it, or we move it down on the list of priorities.
That's great. But I have to interject for one second here. Your comments are everywhere from great information. Someone even said you're the GOAT, and then we've got a And we all love your cooking. Okay, there's your one
Oh,
probably one
thank
of
you.
my favorite. Sorry, keep going, Dan. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that the last thing I think I would say is you got to be prepared for some turbulence in this business.
Mm.
Things like 9/11, things like 2008, things like 2020. I mean, I remember, sitting here having you, congratulate me on being diamond this year. That's great. And that feels really good. But I remember in 2008 when I made $18,000 for the entire year. And that was a really tough time. And I think that if I had to give myself some advice, I would say getting into this business, you got to be prepared for some turbulence. You got to loosen your grip when it hits, and you got to look ahead and not just what's in front of you right now. Because I remember how I felt in 2020, not that long ago. What was it, March 16th, when the stock market crashed? Listings were canceling, buyers were canceling. It would be really easy to shut down and just not go outside and just look inward. But you got to look ahead. There is always going to be an opportunity, but you just got to look for it. I look back to 2008 when I was new in the business, and I didn't have a lot of market knowledge. I didn't really know what to do. The market was crashing. Banks wouldn't lend. Sellers couldn't sell because they were underwater on their properties. There are agents that I know very well, teams that I were on, where people were making more money than they had ever made in and amongst all that turbulence. And I think what we were able to do is learn over the last several years of being in business, adapt, be much more agile in 2020 to COVID and all the challenges that the pandemic brought, and adjust our business model and ultimately have the best year we've ever had.
Yeah, I would say congratulations. That's awesome advice too. That's it is too, because you are going to experience turbulence, and what's the old saying? Circumstances don't create the person; they reveal them. And I think that's very
Right.
true in real estate, because you're an independent contractor. You're self-employed. You're in business for yourself, but not by yourself with this company. And so that's awesome advice. Now, it doesn't hurt that Scottsdale, North Scottsdale, the whole Phoenix area really is the number 2 destination after Texas. Number 2 in appreciating after San Diego, and it's number 4 in destination after a few. Number 4 in destination for the whole country. It's number 2 in destination as well. That's right. Nevada is number 4, or Las Vegas is number 4. So you're probably seeing that increased traffic and all that. I mean, it's got to be incredible there with the amount of people that are coming. And like you said, hopefully you have spring training this year, but I don't know if that's going to happen, right?
It might not. If we're a little bit less worried about it happening or not happening this year versus last year, because I think we know we can get through it regardless of what happens. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, there's still a lot to be determined.
Yeah. Well, you guys had an incredible year, like you said, in the last 6 months of the year. So, even with the pandemic is actually, because like you said, I mean, it's if you're going to be in your home a lot, you might as well be in a larger home so it's, in a weird way, it's kind of helped the Phoenix Scottsdale area, because I think it's moved people before they were actually going to move. But anyway, all that being said, you still have to do all the activities that you just mentioned. You have to have income producing activities. You got to have lead generation activities and all that good stuff, correct?
Absolutely. And I think ultimately figuring out like what kind of agent you're going to be. Like, I think when I was early on in my career, I saw a lot of different examples that were great around me of people who were super successful. And I ultimately decided who I was going to be, or needed to figure out who I was going to be. And it probably wasn't until the last 3 to 4 years where I figured out who I was as an agent in terms of what's the core of my business. Am I a door knocker? Am I an open house guy? Am I a techie guy? Am I what kind of an agent am I going to be? Now, I think that a good agent probably does all those things, but there's a kind of a core business of who they are. And I've decided, I'm a referral agent. I want to grow my referral business through my existing network. So whether bringing in past clients and getting them to become part of my super sphere. I know Mark had given a talk a couple of years ago that really resonated with me and helped me identify with what kind of an agent I wanted to be, which is, identifying people in your network who you've done business with that appreciate you, take them out to lunch, and have a couple of business ideas that you want to run by them, but make them part of your business and
Yeah.
get them to get out there working for you and to hopefully refer you people. When we've taken that, I think taken it to the next level. We did a great Phoenix Open event last year that generated a ton of business for us by engaging existing clients, putting together an event, asking them to invite friends of theirs that are high potentials from out of the market, getting ahead of that second home buyer market before they actually get out to Arizona and connect with an agent. But doing activities like that and creating really kind of a super sphere of people that are out promoting you and your business. That's what we've been really focused on.
That's great. Yeah, I call it the extended sales force, right? Your sphere.
Yeah, exactly.
Is kind of your extended sales force. And when you, no, not everybody calls it a sphere, but when you dig into your sphere for their sphere, okay, and we have the best tool for that too, the VAC 2.0 with the neighborhood reports and, the newsletters. And, if they're getting that stuff and you say to them, hey, who else do you know that would like to be getting this valuable information? Everybody, especially when your home's appreciating at 1.5% to 2% a month, you like to find that kind of stuff out.
Absolutely. It's good information. And I think you can start small. I mean, you don't have to have a huge network in order to start. You just got to bring people into it, let them know how you work, let them know how you do business, bring them some value, service them, and it'll come back to you. But I've also gotten a lot better about asking for business, which has always been really uncomfortable for me. But I think that when you figure out what kind of an agent you want to be, it all becomes much, and you understand where your business is coming from, you can be a lot more targeted in how you approach it.
That's awesome. And I would imagine, you're a relationship person, like you said, and you love cooking and having people over and developing those relationships and then digging deep. I would assume that the three others in your group that you guys probably have different personality styles and do it slightly different as well, correct?
We do. We come together for a couple of big events each year, like our Phoenix Open event. We do an annual holiday party, which we didn't do this last year. But we did, work on our pot buys and sending out an item of value to people that were in our sphere that typically would attend that to let them know we are still thinking about them. But yeah, I think you got to have your events. Not everyone's the same. Everyone works differently. But understanding again who you are, I think is most important.
Yeah, I think the best deal right now is, and I agree with that 100%, Dan. I think the best deal right now are movie theaters. They'll rent you out the whole movie theater if you agree, if you commit to I think it's 25 people. It's pretty crazy.
It is, there's that. And one thing we've been doing lately too is, I don't know if I'm sure people know it, but Cloud CMA is a really great tool.
Yeah.
And people right now, going through your database of people you've sold homes to. I know this is probably more for like an agent who's been around for a while. It's kind of a little bit more of a sales under their belt, but going back to people that have been in their home for 2 years and sending them the CMA as a touch and letting them know, because it's a pretty good story to tell, and you never know where that might lead. If you've owned your home for 2 years in Arizona, you likely are sitting on about 30+% of appreciation, depending upon where you are. That's a great reason to touch base with one of your past.
It's a great icebreaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, by the way, and you ever notice, you've been in the business now for a while, so you know that when the market's up, they love you, and when the market's down, they blame you. Like Correct. Your name is the market, right? But this is a great icebreaker right now because it's nice to be the champ when the appreciation is so high right now. It
is. It creates a different set of challenges, right? As everyone wants to know, where am I going to go? What's going to be my next step? But, there's a lot of good stories to tell, whether it's, telling somebody about how much their house is appreciated, or, maybe you get them thinking about, you can only realize as an individual $250,000, or as a married couple, $500,000 in tax-free appreciation on your home.
Right.
You could make an argument for somebody, maybe you should sell your house,
downsize.
Go buy the house down the street just to reset the clock. Right.
And you know what? And some people may even argue that $250 per spouse may be changing in the near future too. So take advantage of that when you can, because we got a new sheriff in town.
Exactly.
All right. Sure. Okay. Any and I've kept you for a little overtime here, so I appreciate that. Any final thoughts you want to leave these wonderful people today?
Yeah, I would just say, gosh, there's so many ways to make money in real estate. there's not one way to do it. It's an awesome business. Be confident in yourself, and be prepared for some turbulence. And I would say you gotta prospect and do those activities that are going to make you money every day.
Yeah, that's great advice. And the thing is the way you can do it, you can really do it around your personality type too. There is no one way, like you said. You can door knock, talk to people. You can become a social media, YouTube sensation. You can do. Yep. We have one guy who's doing $1 million sales off TikTok. He's become like the ambassador of Las Vegas. He does traffic reports. He does market updates.
I love it.
All on TikTok, and they call him or they reach out to him to do business. So, however your personality is.
That's fantastic. Yep, but there's a place for everybody for sure.
There really is. There really is. Well, Dan, thank you very much, Fine Homes Group, for taking your time out today, and congratulations on that Diamond Group. That is not an easy award to get to. Congrats.
Only took us 14 years.
You're a 14-year overnight sensation.
Okay, exactly.
All right, Dan. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. See you soon.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.